Welcome back to Arcane Answers. I'm your host, Larry, and joined with me today is the formidable Sarah. And unfortunately, Amanda will not be joining us today. And we need to apologize for the delay in episodes this month, but we've been on vacation. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I am doing pretty well, all things considered. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Um, Today, we're going to be exploring the third man factor, or the sensed presence experience. This phenomenon describes individuals in extreme life-threatening situations who report sensing a benevolent or unseen presence that gives guide or comforts them, often perceived as a companion or guardian. This presence is most commonly sensed, although sometimes it can be seen or heard. Now, you have some familiarity with this, right?
I do a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, they say that it can even be touched. Like
Hmm.
that to me, like, is a physical thing. But
Absolutely.
yeah, the thing about this phenomenon is it's consistent. Like there's a
Yes.
consistent benevolent guiding nature of the third man. Like it distinguishes it from like random hallucinations. Its consistent helpfulness is like ubiquitous. Everybody who reports this
Yes.
thing, they're like, "Hey, there was a and we keep calling it third man, but that's in my research, that's all I've come across is like seeing a benevolent man. So have you found a benevolent woman in the third person
I
factor?
have actually. There was,
Hmm.
oh, I gotta remember because of course I don't have it down, but there was a gentleman whose mom actually came to him. She had passed years earlier, and so she had come to him in his time of need. I want to say it was
Oh,
a car
that's
accident or
interesting.
something. Yeah.
That's interesting because like a lot of times it's like a unknown.
That was the only story I had heard. No, it's not. That's the only story I had heard with, yeah, with a loved one or with a female. The other account that I saw, there was a woman who was cave diving and she had lost her husband a year prior. And while she was diving, she lost her, it's like a ley line or a some line that they use to tell which way is up and down and how to get out of the cave.
Hmm.
And she was running out of oxygen, and her husband came to her and helped her find that line and get out of it. But those are the only two accounts I saw of people
Oh,
actually knowing the third man
that
or,
is interesting.
guardian angel. Hmm.
Yeah. So that does like there's a consistency across diverse high stakes situations. It's an interesting
Yes.
pattern. It also raises the question is why it's always a force of good. You know, like why is it inherently something like you don't? Well, I guess you wouldn't hear of the third man who left people off to a cliff or something. You know,
Right. That's how we
so
get the Donner Party. There was actually an extra
yeah,
guy there. We just don't hear about him because everyone's dead.
yeah. There you go. What did everyone die in that? I thought they just ate each other and some of them lived.
I don't remember. Somebody
I
probably
don't
did live. I don't know.
I don't remember either. We'll say they didn't. They ate each other and that's all. Um,
And the third man just laughed.
yes. And so today, if you can't guess, we are talking about the third man concept rooted in real life survival. So I did a little digging on this and I
Okay.
found where like I guess one of the first mentions of it um it comes from Sir Ernest Shackleton. Did you see
Yes.
that? Yeah, are you seeing
Yes.
that one? Because I don't want to.
I'm not. I tried to steer away from that one because it is, the first big mentions of the third man.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I'm just touching on it lightly here, um, but it's interesting to say. His encounters with where was he in the Antarctic? Yeah, he was in the Antarctic in
Yes.
1916. He felt a presence, a divine companion, and there was a fourth presence in their party of three. So
Hmm.
that actually inspired T.S. Eliot to write a poem, "The Wasteland," which is one of my favorite poems.
Yeah, I
It's
thought that
the
was interesting. I didn't know there was a correlation between um, that incident and the poem.
Yeah, actually, the reference to the third ultimately gave the phenomenon its name.
Uh huh.
Uh, although despite Shackleton's fourth companion.
Right. His was a group of it was him and two other men that he had on his boat, and
Yes.
they felt like there was a fourth man, but it
Yeah.
was turned when it was adapted. It was turned into the third man.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know this, but like the third man factor was kind of obscure until like 2009. Like
Oh, really?
yep, there was a book that came out called The Third Man Factor: Surviving the Impossible by John
Mm-hmm.
Geiger. And it's he had a fascination with Shackleton's story as well, and compiled a bunch of life or death situations, making the phenomenon more accessible.
Now that you say that, I did listen to about an hour of that book. Like the
mm,
first hour of it was on YouTube. It was pretty good, actually. Gotta say,
yeah.
there was a couple good stories in there that I was able to listen to.
Oh, cool. I might check that out then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's by no means the first documentation of this. Like in NIT 55, a neurologist actually did an essay on it, the idea of a presence. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
his name was, I think, McDonald Critchetley.
Oh, wow. That's a
Yeah.
name.
And yeah, it's really quite the name. But yeah, so he studied nearly 300 shipwreck and aviation mishaps and survivors who reported a sensed presence. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been around for decades, well before that book came out, or
Right.
the or the video on YouTube. You know?
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
but yeah, so like um, Charles Lindbergh experienced this as
Mm-hmm.
well. Did you? I'm gonna. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just touch on a few of these and not give too much of like a history lesson behind it. But like, I want to say that like, I just said Charles Lindbergh, right?
You did, yeah.
His solo flight. He
Mm-hmm.
felt like vapor shapes were offering him navigational advice,
Oh,
and
I hadn't heard that much into it.
yeah, and then like the guy from Touching the Void heard a voice guiding him after a severe leg injury. I think you may know that Touching the Void was pretty darn popular. Um,
I don't know that actually.
oh, okay, all right. He injured himself in the Peruvian Andes, and
Mm-hmm.
he was, a climber, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's since the third man. It was like in the 1970s. I think they made a movie about it. I know there's definitely a book.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even during our catastrophe of 9/11, some people reported, you know, a third man. So
Yeah, I did come across some of those stories too, and those were really interesting.
they
What I
really
found the
are.
most interesting is um uh, in my research I came across stats and it was like the people most likely to have an encounter with the third man
Uh-huh.
was like mountain climbers, um people that sail alone, and oh no, what was the third one? Sailors?
Mountain climbers,
Climbers.
sailors. Well, car accidents
And
seem to be
divers.
divers. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Those are both.
Yeah.
So, like, those are in high altitude or low altitude situations. I wonder if that has an impact on the brain's functioning.
Oh, it might. I was thinking also because they're putting themselves in such a state of danger willingly that they find themselves in those positions more often than like the average person would.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are adventurers, but some of them are just like car accident survivors who are like, you know, getting voices. They're like, hey, watch out, or relax for the impact, that kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like it's definitely happens in extreme situations a lot of the time.
most definitely. It's too bad Amanda's not here for this one because she and her husband had a third man encounter that I'm gonna butcher if I try to tell it, but
Well,
they
we might.
came across a car accident and
Uh-huh.
encountered some gentleman.
Did he guide them, or what like, you just give us the cliff notes if you.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I believe that there was a small child in the car, and the gentleman got the child out of the car, and then by the time the cops showed up, the guy like walked into like the woods up by my
Uh,
parents' house and just kind of wasn't there, and they were never able to find him.
oh, oh,
Yeah,
that
he
is.
apparently like pulled this child out of the car after the wreck.
So they never found the child or the man?
No, they never found the man. He left the child
Oh,
and then went on his merry way to go save somebody else.
yeah. I first I think heard about this, or like not first heard about it, but like recently heard about it uh from an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. It
I
was
love unsolved mysteries.
pretty silly in that one, but um as that show is. But
Oh yes.
the common scientific view of this is that the brain generates a response in extreme sex. I don't know. The Yeah, that's right. No, the common scientific view is that like it's a hallucination or coping mechanism generated by the brain in response to extreme stress,
Yes.
uh, isolation, fatigue, sensory deprivation, that kind of thing, and fear. They call
Yeah.
these sensed presence experiences or extra campaign hallucinations or
Extra
campine.
campaign. That's
Uh,
interesting.
I'm going to spell that out. Just so I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right. EXTRACAMPINE, and I wonder if that has to do with some part of the brain. But like it is often associated in contexts like bereavement, sleep paralysis, or neurological disorders. And
Oh,
so, yeah, it occurs when individuals are weakened or in a stimulus poor environments, and it aids to their survival. So,
interesting.
yeah, there's a
Sorry,
lot
I was
of like,
looking up the word.
oh, what is it? Like, break it down for me.
I'm trying. Give me extra campaign. No, it's just telling me the same stuff that you were just talking about.
Well, I'm going to throw out something while you're looking that up.
Yeah,
Like the body mapping hypothesis. Did you check that out at all?
I did not come across that.
So, like, it's really, really neat. Um, so the hypothesis suggests there's a presence, our presences arise from disruptions to the brain's internal body map. So projecting parts of it externally. So neuropsychologists evidence support this as presence experiences occur after damage to brain regions like insular cortex and what do you call that? Temporal or temporal. TPJ is what it stands for. You, if you want to find out, look it up. But electrical
Temporal junction something?
yes, temporal power. I'm not even going to try it.
Oh,
That is not a word my mouth can form. Um,
temp
but
temporal parietal.
yeah, okay, temporal parietal. Don't put
It
a
has to do with
P
the
R
temporal
O
lobe.
R O.
No,
Just no. It
medical.
temporo proper. Yeah, it's too tough.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
electrical stimulation to the TPJ can also elicit a close by presence.
Interesting. So it's like an out
Yeah.
of body experience, kind of.
Right. You can kind of manufacture it by shocking the right place.
Weird.
So you get shocked and then you're like, oh, hey, there's a guy next to me. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense why in distressing situations, car accidents, plane crashes, things like that, you would experience that because I'm sure there's head injury that go along with that.
Well, yeah. And then there's also like things like the phantom limb phenomena, which,
Yes.
you lose a limb and then you're like, your leg itches, but you don't have it anymore.
Right.
Like, yeah. Um, so yeah, there's just a lot of interesting things. Like you touched on what was called the widow effect, the awareness of a deceased loved one.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I found was the muse factor, where like you perceive something that gives you inspiration or guidance. And so those are a
Yes.
couple phrases that they've stuck onto them. So I'm kind of done giving the boring lecture side of things. What have you been looking into?
Oh, that's great. I compiled some stories that I found of people's experiences with the third man.
Mm-hmm.
Um I got a couple of them from various Reddit subtitles. And then I got a couple of them from a BuzzFeed article, which I had to weed through quite a few of them because it was like, when I was 5,
Yeah.
I stubbed my toe and somebody came and kissed my boo-boo. Like,
Yeah.
it took a minute to find some that actually piqued my interest.
Yeah.
But
I could see that because, like, this is weeding through so much woo, and
oh yes.
I love woo. You know that.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
brought me to this podcast. But there is some that are just a little too out there for me. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And a
Yeah.
lot of them are like, it was accounts of kids, and as we all know, kids don't have enough life experience to explain things, so their brains fill in the blanks
Yeah.
for things to make it make sense. So
Yeah.
a lot of those were, you can explain those ones away.
Yeah. A lot of it can be explained away. I think even in the adult ones where they're like, I saw a man, and you're like, you might have actually seen a man. You were in a terrible car wreck. So, like,
You had hypothermia. That was the
yeah,
EMT.
yeah, exactly. Like, there was another presence saying, you'll be all right. Just apply pressure to the wound.
Just keep breathing.
Then I passed out, and these EMTs rescued me. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see here. Let me find. I have a few of them, but let me find my faves here. Okay. So this one goes along with the, like I was saying, like fishermen, or people
Mhm.
that boat alone. That is a really common genre of people that experience it. So this one
Yeah.
was from Reddit, and it was by a user named Frankie Smile. So Frankie says, "Not my story, but my dad's. He was alone skipping a boat somewhere off the English coast back in the 1950s. He ran into a terrible storm, got knocked over onto the ground, and couldn't get up to steer the boat. He said 2 men appeared and steered the boat for him and occasionally spoke to him, saying he would be okay. He couldn't figure out how they had gotten onto the boat in the middle of the storm. He saw them and heard them clearly. Early the next morning, he woke up to voices, but this time it was a Coast Guard vessel that had come to his boat. They were amazed that he was alive. He was alone, too injured to steer, and based on his last reported position, shouldn't be where he was found. He had, in fact,
Interesting.
been reported on the radio as missing and presumed dead. He wondered if he had ran into a couple of guardian angels."
So that's a two other men factor. I guess it still makes a third man factor, though.
Right. There's still 3 of them.
Yeah. They're like, man, we got to keep this in threes. If they are like spiritual or guardian angels, like they have some weird rules. They're like, all right,
No
Ezreal,
kidding.
you know the rules. It's 3 or nothing. So you got to partner up for this one.
Michael can't go by himself.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. And then here, dang it. Here is a kid one, but it caught my interest. So,
Sure.
let's see. This one was from that Reddit or the BuzzFeed article that I found. So, in 1981, my parents took me to New York to see a couple of Broadway plays. One day, we were walking down a very busy street, and I walked behind my dad's wheelchair so I didn't get crushed. Being a curious kid in the big city, I fell further and further behind my parents. I was standing near the curb, and suddenly a big 70s Cadillac pulled over. A man in the back seat opened the door and grabbed my arm. At the same time, I felt and saw a man in a tan suit reach over my chest and pull me back hard. The man in the car slammed the door and the car peeled out. I turned around looking for the man in the tan suit, but there wasn't anyone there. The
Oh,
area
wow.
around me the area around me was empty because everyone was surprised at what had just happened. I said, "Where is the man in the tan suit?" And a person around me said, excuse me, and the people around me said, "We didn't see any man. It just looked like you pulled your arm away." Then my parents came running back again to get me. Again, I still had no idea what happened, but my arms were both sore the next day, in all 3 places where I was grabbed/pulled.
Now that's really interesting because we have witnesses saying, "Nah, kid, you jumped out of the way."
Right. Right. And
Huh.
that's what got me too, was we actually have witnesses to that one who were like, "No, man, you did that yourself."
That is really fascinating. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I'll end with one that has witnesses as well. This one, I feel
Okay.
like this one also
Uh,
had a man in a tan suit. No, it didn't. Never mind. What were you gonna say?
Put him
Sorry.
in a tan suit. No, no,
Put him
I
in a
was just
tan suit.
excited for the next one. Yeah,
Okay.
why not? I mean,
So, all right. So this one was also from Reddit. Username was former sock164. So I have an experience with the third man syndrome. I was in a horrible car accident a few Easters ago. Some things still don't make sense, and I still have many unanswered questions. Here's the dealio. I borrowed my friend's truck to go grocery shopping. It was late at night, and instead of him and his girlfriend taking me, they said that I could return the truck in the morning. As I was pulling off, I rolled down my window, and my friend said, "If you wreck it, be sure to total it." I didn't think anything of it until months after when I remembered this. Anyways, it was exactly midnight on Easter Sunday, and it had started raining. This happened right when the curfew for COVID kicked in. I'm in Dallas, BTW. There was literally no one else on the highway but me. Next thing I knew, I woke up very groggy with the steering wheel in my face. I guess it was adrenaline. I didn't feel any of my injuries at all. I remember having my cell phone and calling my friend Rick to tell him what happened. As I'm trying to explain, a man in a green Adidas shirt walked up to me, seemingly out of nowhere. No car, no bike. He asked me if he needed to call 911, and I frantically said, "No, I need to call my friend. This is his truck." But the feeling that came over me when I looked into his eyes was otherworldly. I was very comfortable, warm, and just knew that it was going to be okay. He walked off seconds later into oblivion, and then, from what my friend said, there was dead air. I stopped talking. He said not even a minute went by before he heard the sirens. Then a paramedic came on the line and informed him that I had been in a critical accident and they were taking me to the hospital. I woke up 2 days later in my hospital room. My arm was in a sling with metal coming out of it, my face bandaged, and my leg was in a cast. I had no recollection of anything. My phone was on my chest, so I immediately called my dad, who was very worried, not having heard from me in a couple of days. I wasn't allowed any visitors because of COVID and remembered very little from my hospital stay, except that I underwent 2 surgeries, suffered a compound fracture in my right arm, and broken leg, a broken nose, and several broken ribs. When I was discharged, I was able to ask and look for more answers. Apparently, there was a car on the shoulder that had broken down, and I hit it going 75 miles an hour, based on where the car ended up. I had never heard of the third man syndrome until about a year ago. I read a similar story to mine of a girl in a car accident describing almost what happened to me word for word. I was shook. I had goosebumps. Okay, well, this is just his commentary. But,
yeah.
so again, we had somebody on the phone that didn't hear the interaction between this gentleman and the friend.
Yeah.
So,
It's I okay. I like the story. I think that's really
mm-hmm,
interesting. I
mm-hmm.
feel like some of it's embellished. Like,
Oh,
why
of
would
course.
doctors put his phone on his chest? That seems very strange.
Right. That does seem
Uh,
strange. It was Reddit. Come on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, this is a perfect Reddit story. It's on the border of a creepypasta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like I could see some of that being true, but like I think he had to write in why he was able to call his dad, but that's a superfluous
Right. It's
piece.
a detail that's not needed.
Yeah, like why is that there? You know, like then
Yeah.
like I read this other story that's very similar to mine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
man, should we just read the other story? Because I feel like yours might be copy.
You might have gotten an idea after you wrote that
Yeah.
or read that story.
Yeah, that reminds me of something that didn't happen to me. But
That happens to me all the time.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna buy it just for the sake of this podcast, but I'm a little dubious.
There's a little bit of question there. Yeah.
Yeah, a little
All
bit.
right. So my last one again happens in a public place. And it has witnesses. So
Hmm.
several years ago, my husband and I were in a Lowe's. My husband had a history of heart issues and had a pacemaker as well as a defibrillator. He was 6'3" and weighed over 200 pounds at the time. Suddenly, he told me that he wasn't feeling well and knew that he was going down. I looked around and saw a lawn swing on display. I told him to try to get to the swing. He didn't make it and started falling. The store had a concrete floor, and I knew that I had to keep his head from hitting the ground. I was trying to hold onto his upper body to ease him down, but I was struggling, and there was nobody around us. Suddenly, a pair of tan leather boots, obviously expensive,
Hmm.
which I don't understand what that has to do with anything, appeared, and two slender tan arms slid around my husband's shoulders just inches from the floor and very gently laid him down. I didn't look up. I was so worried about my husband because his defibrillator hadn't gone off. I remember saying thank you, but the man never said anything back. When I did look up, there was no one there. A woman who was coming into the store had seen me struggling with my husband and immediately pulled out her phone and called 911. Paramedics arrived almost immediately, and the store personnel came. The first question they asked was if he hit his head. I told them no, that the man had saved him at the last minute. They asked if I knew who it was. I told them I just saw his legs walking away towards the back of the store and that he never said a word after.
Huh.
The manager came back to me a bit later and said that they had asked every customer, but no one had claimed to have helped or matched the description. The woman who saw this happening from the door and called 911 did not see anyone but me and my husband too.
Interesting. So it was
Mm-hmm.
a swarthy angel with an expensive taste for shoes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was. But
That
again,
one
tan.
I like I like that better. I like that one.
Yeah.
Uh not so many strange details. Other than
Mm-hmm.
expensive shoes. But like
I know
I
that
mean that
that
makes
kind of
sense.
threw me
Like
off.
you notice little things in times of
Mm-hmm.
distress. Like time
Mm-hmm.
slows down and you're like, "Huh, those shoes look expensive." I can believe that coming into your
Yeah.
brain because you're dealing with so much trauma all at once in that moment. Your brain's just like caught a glimpse and then it's like, "That's a forever memory." that
Yeah.
sticks
That's
that in
something
your head.
normal that I can hold on to during that non-normal event that's happening.
Exactly. Yeah, I think exactly that. You know, um, I think today's going to be a bit of a short one. Normally we have someone to fill in the rest of the time, but that's okay because we
Sorry, guys. Our third man episode is missing its third man.
yeah, that is funny. That is it's a two-man episode on the third man. But
She's here with
yeah,
us in spirit. Don't worry.
exactly. I hear her beckoning us on. But I think that this is one of the most compelling mysteries that we have. Like this happens over and over with some consistency, and you don't see
Mm-hmm.
that a lot. And you got a bunch of theories. You've got some anecdotal evidence. That's all you can really get because empirical evidence would be well amazing if they were to catch a guy just disappearing on film. But
Yeah, that would be awesome.
yeah, that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, you know, uh, that's pretty much all we have for this week. And if you or anyone has sensed a presence in the moment of crisis or even a strange, unexplainable feeling of not being alone, we'd love to hear from you and other stories and theories. Head over to our social media or call us on 207-591-4443. Again, that's 207-591-4443. And join us next time as a third man does the dialing for you and put a little bit of salt around because I think we're going to be talking about demons.
Oh, those good old demons.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has them.